Episode 5, I Chose to Believe, the Healing Force of Hope. Welcome to Episode 5 of Happy Mind Travel, where I talk about the psychology of hope. Happy Mind Travel is an inspiring podcast for you to discover the power of psychology-based practices and spiritual exercises across time and space, helping you gain mental strength and making your life happier. As always, we hunt for the materials, and it's on your part to implement those strategies and enjoy to be happy. Hey folks, I'm your host, Pauline. Thanks for joining me again in Happy Mind Travel. How do you feel about last week's meditative experience? I hope you enjoy it. Today, we're talking about an element that drives the whole humanity, and we will be doing some experiments along the way. So, if you want to have some fun, do join in our experiment. Visit the show notes page of this episode because we'll have so many resources, helpful links covered here in this episode. And the show notes link is our happymindtravel.com/hope. It's OURHAPPYMINDTRAVEL.com/HOPE. Have some fun while listening to this episode. So, are you ready for today's adventure? Happy Mind Travelers, let's start our mind travel. These are hopes, but what will you see and hear of them when you have not experienced splendor, ardor, and rosy dawn in your own souls? This is a quote from the great German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche from his work, The Joy Science, or many others translated as The Gay Science. Today, we're talking about hope, the spark of our life. And what is hope to you? Is that even important? Now, it's strange that something that intangible and abstract that we hang on to for most of our time, or we wish to hang on to so much. From the philosophical perspective, hope is not beyond our reach. It stays within us for us to discover and experience. It's not something we could get or buy from the outside world. It's a feeling. It's an emotion. Hope is an experience that we found in ourselves. Both philosophers and psychologists and even poets over centuries have tried to understand hope and how hope influences us, especially in our dark times. But before we dive into those academic viewpoints and advice today, I want you to do a mental exercise with me. Simple and quick. Now, if you're a regular listener of Happy Mind Travel, you would know that Happy Mind Travel don't want you to accept and take in any information you've heard here, even if it is scientific grounded, because I know you will learn better by experiencing it. Now, I want you to think about a situation in your life that reminds you of hope. What happened in that situation? Who's involved in that situation? Is it a difficult time that you thought you couldn't bear with anymore? Is it a time when you feel you cannot go on and you couldn't see the light at end? And what's the pivotal thing that you've done or said to yourself that changes the whole situation? Who helped you along the way? Take a few moments to reflect on this situation now in which you experience hope. And after that, we get back to the show. So, have you recalled that experience in memory? Reliving an experience could bring back the emotion you have experienced before. So, if you want to feel this emotion of hope, you can think about the situation that makes you feel hope once in your life. Now, I want to do a quick experiment with you, and you understand yourself more after this experiment, I promise. And you will learn a great deal from it if you join in this experiment with me. So please head over to ourhappymindtravel.com/hope, the show notes page. And then you will see two buttons below the title of Happy Mind Travel Psychological Experiment. And one button says MLK Speech. And a second one said Enter Experiment. Now you have an option to click on the MLK Speech button or not. And if you do, that will take you to Martin Luther King's famous speech, I Have a Dream. A light box will appear and you will listen to the full speech. And make sure you listen to the whole speech. Now those who have chosen to listen to that speech, listen to it. And then come back to the show notes page again. Now, whether you have chosen to hear that speech out or not, click the second button that says Enter Experiment, and you will then see a Google form pop out. This is an experiment platform that I have created for you and for this show. It's a platform that I aim to replicate the psychological experiment that researchers have done before and is meant to transform your life. So you see a Google form pop out, fill in the consent form, just check the box and then proceed to the rest of the questionnaire. Answer the few questions is just a 6-item survey to complete the experiment, and the demographics that I collect are just for academic and experimental purposes. And I'll tell you the idea behind later in this episode. And if you choose not to hear the MLK speech, then just skip it and go straight to the Enter Experiment form and answer the questions. It will take you, I think, maybe 3 minutes or so. Please complete it so you know what's going on in this episode. You can pause this audio right now for a few minutes to finish that before we come back. No hurry. So have you completed the experiment? Let's talk about the items you just saw in the questionnaire. First, if I should find myself in a jam, I could think of many ways to get out of it. At the present time, I'm energetically pursuing my goals. Number 3, there are lots of ways around any problem that I'm facing now. Number 4, right now, I see myself as being pretty successful. Next one. I can think of many ways to reach my current goals. Number 6. At this time, I'm meeting the goals that I have set for myself. So can you guess what this survey is about? Give you a few moments, a few seconds. Yes, you're right. It's measuring your hope level. It's called the Adult State Hope Scale, developed by psychologist C.R. Snyder and his colleagues. He's actually the pioneer researcher in hope in the psychology field. This scale measures your current state of hope level, and question number 1, 3, and 5 will measure your level of pathways thinking. 1, 3, 5 is there are lots of ways around any problem that I'm facing now. If I should find myself in a jam, I can think of many ways to get out of it. And I can think of many ways to reach my current goals. Number 1, 3, 5 measures your level of pathways thinking. That is how well you can, and that you believe you can, generate a map or pathway to get what you want. For number 2, 4, and 6, that is, at the present time, I'm energetically pursuing my goals. Right now, I see myself as being pretty successful. And at this time, I'm meeting the goals that I've set for myself. Number 2, 4, 6 measures your agency thinking. And what is agency thinking? That is the motivation and strength, the desire to follow the paths you have set for yourself. In Snyder's eye, or in traditional psychology, hope is defined as having goals in mind, having the plans together with the desire or motivation to finish your goals. And in psychology, you often find that hope theories is often goal-oriented, that with a foundation of clear planning and passion, hopeful skills or hopeful thinking could be learned and achieved through training. You can calculate your hope score by adding up the score of all questions. And higher scores indicate that your hope level is high now, because this measure is for measuring your current hope level, and is energetic. And if your score is high, your hope level is high now and is energetic in achieving your life goals. The scores range from 6 to 48 points. So if your score is near 30, 40 something margin, you are highly hopeful now. But if it's lower than this score, don't worry, because we will talk about ways to enhance your hope level in this episode. I mean, is the rationale behind this episode. And we introduce you ways to enhance your hope level, ways that are proven by psychologists in their experimental or correlational research, and you will learn that in no time. Now, I want to introduce you another survey that's called the Trait Hope Scale. Trait as in T-R-A-I-T. That means your trait or your character hope scale, which measures your capacity for hope in general. And what this capacity for hope is that a more general expectation you have towards life regarding hope. And you can also find the link to this scale on the show notes page. It actually leads you straight to the PDF file that's created and developed by Snyder and his colleagues. If you're interested in knowing your trait hope level, then go to ourhappymindtravel.com/hope. And then you'll find the survey there as well. Now, after knowing your own score, I think you would like to know the theory behind, the rationale behind, the back end of this hope scale. Since the 1950s, psychologists and physicians have begun to look at the role of hope in wellness and health. And in 1959, a psychologist called Carl Menninger talked about hope is the source of healing and strength for patients. But hope is, this element is kind of under the radar at that point, at that moment. Later, another psychologist, Stotland, started to refine the components of hope. And he defined hope as a positive expectancy of goal attainment. In 1991, Snyder, C.R. Snyder, the psychologist who developed the hope scale you just finished, shaped hope as a positive motivational state that is based on the interaction between agency and pathways. Lots of terms, but it's just the desire and your planning to meet your goals. So let's decipher what are the two components of hope. What's pathways thinking? Now, pathways thinking is your capacity to find workable routes to reach your desired goals, is your ability to think of ways to accomplish your goals. If one doesn't work out, could you think of another way to complete that? And if that doesn't work either, do you still believe you can think of solutions to reach your goals? I remember when I was doing my math homework back in my school days, and when I encounter a difficult question, I would start to have this feeling that I know I could and I would solve that question. I would know the answer. Not that I have a concrete plan to figure out the solution, but I just got this belief or so-called gut feeling that after some time, I would solve this question. I know something's working inside my brain. I know my brain is solving this equation in my head unconsciously or subconsciously, though I don't know what exactly that process is. But I have this belief that I could solve this question in no time. And 10 out of 10 times almost, I got that equation or question solved in a few minutes or after I took a nap. I guess that counts as hope as well because I believe I could think of solutions at the end. And that's part of pathways thinking. Not only that you can generate the pathways, but you have a strong belief that you will somehow generate an answer. You will solve that question at the end. And what about agency thinking? Now let's just call it motivation. It's our motivation to keep us going towards our goals, working towards our goals, even when we face difficult times, even when something or someone blocks us in the process. Now, you might wonder, so what will high hope individuals be like, and how would they behave? Actually, psychologist Snyder and other researchers tell us that, first of all, high hope individuals set goals of moderate certainty. And the reason behind is that a challenging goal gives us the motivation and energy to crush it. And yet, it won't be too hard for us. It won't be too hard to discourage us. High hope individuals also are more skilled at creating a detailed, well-articulated primary route to attain their goals. They are also better to produce alternative routes to goals, especially when the primary routes are blocked. And what habits do high hope people have to keep them on fire? Well, researchers have found out that high hope individuals often talk to themselves positively, like, I can do this, or I'm not going to be stopped, or if I persist, I will find the solution. And I've also compiled these positive self-talk statements for you to download on the show notes page. Is a PDF file which you'll find at ourhappymindtravel.com/hope. No email address or name needed for downloading this list of positive statements. Simply click download, the download button, and then you will receive the document in no time. Now let's talk about hope therapy in psychology. A hope therapy in psychology will include 3 elements. Number 1, it's appropriate goal setting. Another important component is problem-solving techniques. And a third one is positive self-talk. And based on research findings over decades, psychologist Dr. Jennifer Chivens and his mentor, Dr. C.R. Snyder and colleagues have found out the mental functioning of high hope individuals and have suggested several ways to help us increase our hope level. Now, let's look at these 10 ways to instill hope in you. Number 1, setting more goals. Now, having more than one goal at hand and engaging in more than one goal. Why? Because if you're not doing well with one goal, then you won't feel devastated. There's a saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you encounter a goal blockage when you can't fulfill this goal at this moment, it will create negative emotions. And different people will have different levels of negative emotions depending on their vulnerability, their circumstances, their personality, their biological blueprints, so forth. And if that's a valid goal to that person, and if they encounter a goal blockage, then it could be possible that they will develop a depressive episode. So when you set goals in different areas of your life, if one area doesn't work well for you at that moment, you can switch your energy to accomplish other goals in life. So you will less likely to feel depressed because you still have hope in other areas of life. You still have the motivation to carry on with your life in other aspects. And the successes, the process that you go through in other aspects of your life may in turn back you up and give you the extra energy to maintain the hope in the area that you encounter goal blockage. Number 2, think of more ways to accomplish your goal. When you set up a goal, tell yourself that there is more than one way to reach it. Plan ahead how you're going to accomplish it and have several strategies at hand. List them out and think of alternative ways or resources that could help with your goal. Whether it's a website, it's a bunch of books or a toolkit, or even a mentor or a friend. The more resources and support you have compiled for yourself, the more likely you will accomplish your goal. And so you would feel more hopeful. Just thinking of the resources and the people supporting you, backing you up. Number 3, have a generalized expectancy for success. When you believe that you will eventually reach your goal, then when something or someone hinders you on your way, you won't perceive that as a failure. You won't look at it as a permanent failure. You will rather view it as a temporary setback. You will learn that this strategy didn't work for you and the situation right now. And naturally, you will think of other ways to reach your goal, to try out other strategies that might better help you fulfill your wish. And most importantly, when you have this generalized expectancy for success, you will understand that in pursuing your goals, it is actually normal to encounter blockages. It is normal to fail. It is normal to go through this trial and error process, to hear harsh words at times from others, and to fall for many times. There's one saying that goes, if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. And that's a big mistake. So aim for success and don't lose hope when you encounter setbacks because, it will come and it's just a learning curve and you would reap the harvest at the end if you consistently put in your effort and time into it. Number 4, focus on past success. Savor and relive the moments of successes. Remind yourself what contributes to your previous successes. What qualities of you help you succeed in those situations. You'll learn from those experiences and that will give you hope. You have those qualities in you, so manifest them again. And distance yourself from past failures. Now that doesn't mean you forgot or suppressed your memories of failures. You put them all in your subconscious. It's not like that. Rather, it's the opposite. You remember those moments, but you remember it from a third-person perspective. You look at it from a different, new perspective. I once heard a wise interpretation of life from an artist, and here it goes. Many people have this idea that life is a competition, as there is a saying, that goes, life is like a competition and you have to win at the starting line. And she said, life is just like and resembles a competition, but it's not a competition. And life resembles a competition because we learn a great deal from it, just like we learn from a competition. And we know a lot of things through participating in a contest. We understand that there are wins and losses in life. When we win, we feel very happy. And we learn that through hard work, we will be recognized and we will have a chance to achieve our goal. But what about losses? Even though we fail sometimes, what's the reason behind? Is it because we didn't work hard enough? Or we didn't try hard enough? Or we didn't give our best effort? When we lose, have we learned how to stand up again? How to bounce back? And that's what we have to learn from life and our experience. And what this artist said is so inspiring. Nobody can win it all the time. There are moments that you would compare yourself to others, or others would compare themselves against you. And in that way, actually we improve, we evolve. But wins and losses do not remind us of who we are. The most important thing is that we learn from our mistakes and we learn from others. Every mistake is a learning experience, a chance for us to improve, to grow, so we shouldn't view ourselves as a failure. The experience could be a failure, and we learn from it, and that makes you a better person. That doesn't make you a failure. That makes you a better person with hope and passion. Number 5, set growth-seeking goals. Set goals for yourself to learn something new. New information, new techniques, new technology, rather than to measure your ability or performance. Enjoy the process and know that there would be obstacles along the way. It's overcoming those obstacles that make you grow. It's not always about winning and winning. If you win all the time, what have you learned? If you win all the time, what else could you learn? And in growing, by overcoming obstacles, you will maintain hope in improving yourself. Number 6, set concrete, manageable goals. Psychologists suggest that people should set concrete goals with sub-goals and visible endpoints. Then you will have more success experiences because you have more sub-goals to achieve. And therefore you will begin to have a generalized expectancy for success. The sub-goals are actually your paths, your pathways to your goal, or your map of how to achieve a goal. For example, if you set a goal that is to cook a great meal for your family, then you need to know how you can improve your cooking skills. Maybe your sub-goal would be to watch cooking channels on YouTube or on TV. And you could also buy cookbooks from bookstores. You could cook a meal first for yourself and taste for yourself, adjusting the ingredients and so forth. You could ask friends who love cooking about what cooking tips they have for you. You could also attend cooking classes weekly to learn from experts and chefs. When you set your sub-goals, you could go over it one by one, and then you will gain energy and hope along the way as you crush your sub-goals. Number 7 and number 8, set approach and intrinsic goals. What are approach goals? It means something you can actually do to work towards it, to work towards your goal. It's not about not doing something. It's not about avoiding something. It's about doing something to achieve a goal. When you set goals for not doing something bad, you will start to pay attention to the negative moments when you perform that bad habit again, or you will monitor those moments that you're tempted to do that bad habit again. And research have shown that this is related. Avoidance goals or setting goals that tells you to not do something is related to depression and negative self-evaluation, even if you succeed to reach that goal. So it's better to rephrase a goal positively, to build a healthy habit and replace bad ones in this case. And when you consider your true desires, that is setting up intrinsic goals and needs, you would be more motivated to achieve them, and that increases your chance of reaching those goals again, which make you feel hopeful afterwards. Number 9, exercise. Needless to say, exercise increases our mood and energy. It also helps motivate us to go for our goals and start thinking in a hopeful way. Exercise makes our body stronger so that we could have the willpower and also the energy to pursue our goals. Number 10, which is a crucial one, it's cognitive pep talks. It is important to experience hope. And we often say, hope is found within our hearts. If there is a game-changing moment that helps us maintain the light in our darkest times, then speaking to ourselves with a positive manner would take us to that special moment. Learn how to appreciate yourself. Not necessarily appreciate your success, but only the mere presence of yourself, of you existing in this world. The self-love that you have for yourself is the magic power to turn things around, to let happiness and hope flow within you. When you believe and have hope for something deeply, it will eventually work out for you. And the foundation is that you love and appreciate yourself, so the positive emotions like happiness and hope can manifest themselves in your life. So these are the 10 practical ways to instill hope in yourself. Number 1, setting more goals. Number 2, thinking more ways to accomplish your goal. Number 3, having a generalized expectancy for success. Number 4, focus on past successes. Number 5, set growth-seeking goals. Number 6, set concrete manageable goals. Number 7, set approach goals. Number 8, set intrinsic goals. Number 9, exercise. Number 10, cognitive pep talks. Today, we've gone through the psychology of hope and have learned ways to know our current and trait hope level. And I believe that hope is inside all of us, and we can learn how to express and enhance it. I hope you've learned some practical hope tips and skills in this episode. And if you would like to dig deeper into this topic and learn more in-depth ways to increase your hopeful thinking and skills, I recommend reading a book written by Dr. C.R. Snyder, that is the hope expert in psychology field and the hope expert that have developed the state hope scale that you have done before. He has done hope research and developed hope theories and therapies for several decades. You can find his hope research online, and you see how he applies hope therapies, hope theories to help people in the midst of hopelessness, those with depression, cancer, and traumatic experiences. And of course, he has also done research on increasing hope in students and a general public, because all people need hope, teaching them how to build on existing strengths. Now, the book by Dr. C.R. Snyder is called Psychology of Hope. You can get there from here. In the book, Professor Snyder teaches you practical ways to become a hopeful person in different phases of life. And I'll include a link to this book on the show notes page at ourhappymindtravel.com/hope. Take a look and see the psychological side of hope. There are many tips covered in this episode. Are you still on the show notes page? If not, I recommend you refresh that page again. And make sure you download the positive self-talk resource there. It would be of great use to you. And you can practice talking those positive statements to yourself in the mirror or in the morning service, your morning rituals every day. It's at ourhappymindtravel.com/hope. And, oh yes, the experiment. that you have done. It's a psychological experiment that has been conducted by another psychologist called Dr. Anthony Scioli. He found that after people viewed Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, their hope level actually increases. Hearing people's cause and feeling the passion they have for their dreams, do instill hope in us. So those that have watched the speech before filling out the hope form would find themselves more hopeful than those that didn't watch it. So those that didn't watch, maybe you would want to click on that video again. Happy Mind Travelers, always have hope in you. We will explore hope again next week, but from a spiritual perspective. And I will talk more ways to increase your hope spiritually. I always feel like hope has to do with our spirituality and our relationship with people close to us. So stay tuned. It would be another great adventure next week. And I will talk more stories of hope in the coming episode. If you're already seeing a medical advisor, counselor, or therapist, discuss this episode with them. Always consult a professional when you think your situation needs one, and discuss your concerns with them. If you have any questions about the experiment or have any feedback on the show, you can email me at pauline@ourhappymindtravel.com or simply comment in the comment section on the show notes page. I have also included all the links and resources that we have talked about today all on the show notes page at ourhappymindtravel.com/hope. That's ourhappymindtravel.com/HOPE. Give yourself some time to train your hopeful skills before we travel to another one next week. Until then, Happy Mind Travelers, take it one day at a time and enjoy to be happy and hopeful, of course. God bless.